Untergang is the final full-length album from Urfaust, and probably I think it is the seventh full-length overall from the band in their sort of run since the early 2000s. And this is best known as an atmospheric black metal band. Some describe them as depressive black metal or suicidal. Back in the early 2000s was kind of what was in, but their sound was obviously very different. It was just influenced by things like Bethlehem and Lugubrum and kind of the weirdos of that crowd who were just heavily atmospheric. Most people describe this band as ritualistic later on as we got closer to 2010 with their third full length, and that's where I discovered them. Um, and the tendency beyond that point was to describe the band as a black doom metal band, and I think doom certainly factored into some of the feeling of their records beyond 2010. Um, Specifically, I guess I would say empty space meditation and the constellatory practice really brought that into focus. But this record and Teufelgeist beyond it didn't necessarily continue that tradition in the same way. So this record, just cutting right to it, is a little bit of a pullback into just what Urfaust is all about, and you'll be able to feel that right away when I play this clip. This is kind of their signature sound. It's what you would want to hear from this band if you're a longtime fan, and it's a good way to go out. So for whatever reason, back in 2020, I missed Teufelsgeist. I don't think it was sent to me. Same with this record, where it came and went, and I thought it was an ambient record they were using to sell gin because you could buy a custom distilled gin under the same brand name. I think it's in its sixth or seventh batch at this point. So it did quite well, and the record was well received, but I didn't follow it at the time, and I didn't realize it was quite good as a continuation of what they had done in the constellatory practice. It was a more complete thought and a complete album that didn't rely so much on ambiance. Of course, it did, and a big part of their sound is the ambient pieces and their ghostly sort of miserable forms that they create. But it was a little bit more daring at the same time as it was a little bit more contained as a conceptual feeling album that was pretty strong. Now, I never had my say on it, so that's why I kind of focus on it here. But here, this record feels like it's intending to be a little bit more cumulative. It feels like it does reach back to their at least 2010 in terms of their sound and how it developed, and not quite as raw, not quite as over the top, but still there in terms of the signature of the band and reaching for interesting synth noises and certainly guitar riffs that convey this sense of dread and doom and uh, drunken misery, I guess, which would be appropriate for the look of the album. So overall, it really is just a very good atmospheric black metal album that doesn't try too hard, doesn't lean into doom all that heavy, and certainly enjoys its ambiance to the point where it should be intoxicating. It should be uh, enjoyable as a point of focus or as a strong, background element. You get the mood of the album is quite interesting and stylized in a way where I don't know. It didn't seem like they were overthinking it. They were just going with what sounded good and put it out and decided to cut the head of the project off right there. So for whatever reason, that turned out to be the right thing to do. For my own taste, because I think this is one of their better records overall. I think that it avoids a lot of bloat. It is just really enjoyable on repeat. It creates that mood that you expect and want from Urfaust, and I just had a great time with this record. A little bit unexpected. It just kind of came out towards the end of the month, and turned out to be my favorite record of the month. And I'll go into that more when I talk about the top 20 of the month. But for here, this is a very high recommendation. It's a great record, and yeah, I would say, even if you don't really know the band, go check out their discography and see why this makes sense as an endpoint as you visit it now. So, Go ahead and read the review for more information, and go listen to the album now. It is already out.